What's happening, people? Me and Carl are back again for another episode of Let the Punk Talk. Just a couple things to cover today. We may be a bit late to the topic, but we're going to start off with the Jack Catterall and Josh Taylor fight. I haven't seen it myself personally, so I'll hand you over to Carl, and Carl can talk about what he saw and the decision and so on and so forth.
Unmute. How are you, mate? Hope you're good. I have nothing to say apart from disgrace. And I'm going to go into a little bit of detail on this because obviously we spoke about it before the fight and I spoke to a few people. And there's only one person I know that backed Catterall to win that fight, and that was Will Jones. Yeah, because obviously he'd been going down to Jamie Moore's gym. And obviously we said about if Taylor performs, he wipes out Catterall, yeah, because he does. That's just stats. And let's have it right. Taylor didn't perform on the night. Taylor was way off of his class. If you look at the weigh-in, he looks ill. Someone said yesterday they saw him the week before the weigh-in and he looked good. And then at the weigh-in, it was like, whoa, Jesus, you need some water, mate. Do you know what I mean? But going on to the fight, obviously, I remember you were in Watford, so I was kind of trying to update you throughout the night. So obviously the fight started and the first round convincingly Jack Catterall, right? And I thought, oh yeah, Josh is going to take a little time. You know, there's been a big build up. He's tried rallying in Jack up, and Jack's come out comfortable. 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, 6-0. And I messaged you and I was like, bro, on my scoring here, which is nothing to anybody, he's got a draw guaranteed. So then obviously you go through Twitter, you go through Instagram, and everyone's saying, my word, Jack Catterall is about to become undisputed. And I remember you messaged me back and you said, Josh will still win on points. And my reply to you was, it ain't going to happen, mate. Like, it cannot. This is clear. So then I had it 6-1, 7-1, 8-2. No, sorry, 7-1, 7-2, 8-2, 8-3. I'm getting lost where I am now. 8-3. Basically, I had it 8-4. 8-4, there you go. Yeah.
And plus, Jack Catterall also scored a knockdown.
Yeah, so they both had a point taken, which, by the way, it was an ugly fight. They both were hanging on. You know, there was a lot of shots thrown. Josh Taylor's point off, I think, was harsh, but I think it was earned for everything he'd done. Like the bell went and he just kind of flicked him to the chest as if to say, like, well done. Yeah. It wasn't like a full-on smack. So then when the fight ended, obviously, I'm looking back for it and I'm thinking, there's no way Taylor's won more than 4 rounds. Like, there is absolutely no chance that's happened. So then, I don't know, like every time there's a split decision from what I've seen, like in recent, it's always gone like first decision to say Jack Catterall, 113, 112 Taylor, winner Taylor. So when the what's his name? I don't know his name, that American guy got on the mic who was like, we have a split decision. I thought, oh my God, Jack was right. They're going to give it to Taylor here. And he went 114, 112, Catterall. And I was like, by 2 rounds. And that's with a knockdown. Like, okay. And then they went 113, 112 Taylor. And then I'm thinking, that's ridiculous. But the thing that gets me, mate, and the thing I want to go into detail, and you probably have met him, is 114, 111 Josh Taylor. Whatever Ian John Lewis is smoking, I want some. Because that deserves, he should never, and I mean never, step foot in a boxing ring again. That is the worst scorecard I've ever seen in my life. He needs to be brought in. Like Robert Smith's come out and said, oh, we're going to investigate it. You're going to investigate your own judges. How does that work? You need the American, whoever they are, to come over, sit your 3 judges down, not even the 3, yeah, the 2 that give it to Josh Taylor, and say, I want you to sit here round by round and tell me what you see there. Prove to me and convince me that Taylor's won that fight by 3 rounds. Because they're, honestly, mate, if you watch it, there is absolutely, like, you get these away fighters, yeah, you knew that Catterall probably had to knock him out or do what he did. But, mate, that is an absolute disgrace to boxing. And anybody, Jamie Moore said it in his interview, he's got a 16-year-old boy that's training and has aspirations to be like a champion. Yeah. He sits there and realises, like, and Poochie says the same, like, if you sit there and watch that, he comfortably won that fight and it's been taken away from him, right? What is that showing young children? Do you know what I mean? It's, I felt sick. Like, obviously, I would, if God forbid, any of my close friends lost in a boxing match, right, I would feel ill, I'd feel sick, right, or whatever. But, mate, I've got no connections to Jack Catterall. Like, I openly wanted Josh Taylor to win because I really rate Josh Taylor. We said we think he's pound for pound. But, mate, that was an absolute stonewall robbery. I mean, I don't know what you've seen or whatever, but mate, it is the worst thing I've ever seen in boxing by a country mile. Worse than Richard Vasquez, 100% worse. Disgrace. Let me stop there. Tell me what you've got to say, because otherwise I'll carry on all night.
Yeah, obviously, like, I'm never going to be someone that's going to give my opinion over something I haven't seen. I haven't seen it, so I can't really say anything on the fight. But what I can say is, it is a regular occurrence in boxing, and how something hasn't been done, like, or how there isn't some kind of system in place, to stop this kind of thing from happening it's just really disgraceful, and it shows a lot. And there is a lot I would like to say, but being like a pro boxer who holds a license, I technically can't say a lot of things that I want to for certain reasons. But nothing will get done about it. The best you can hope for is a no contest, which I don't think will happen. The decision isn't going to get overturned to a win, and even if it does, it's still it's not good enough, because you've taken that moment away from him at that moment in time. The moment he should have been, celebrating with his friends, family, and so on and so forth. And it's ruined Jack Catterall's career in a way, because he's never going to have the same motivation. He's never going to have the same drive. He's never going to be in the same situation. He probably ain't going to earn as much money as he will for his next fight than he would have. He's not going to get the extremely big fight he would have got, So there's a lot of it. There's a lot that goes into that. It could potentially just ruin his career forever. Like, he may never be the same again after that. And it's just a disgrace to boxing. And Ian John Lewis and Howard Foster are just renowned for doing this kind of stuff. Not only is Howard Foster just like corrupt, he just like on the scorecards, every fight, if I see Howard Foster reffing it and it's not a 50-50, I just know he's going to stop it early, like, regardless. It's not even come from the Froch Groves fight. He does it a lot. I've seen him stop fights early all the time when there's a favorite involved. So I don't understand how they keep just giving him mega fights to like ref and judge on. It's crazy, like, how corrupt boxing can be, or how corrupt boxing is. And like, even people like Frank Warren now have come out for the Tyson Fury fight and said he doesn't want any British officials in the ring for the Tyson Fury fight. And sooner or later, there used to be a big thing about Germany, and how no one ever wanted to go over to Germany because it was so corrupt. England's 100 times worse, 100 times worse than Germany ever was. It's one of the, from like, especially in recent years, it's one of the worst countries I've ever seen for fixing fights. I just feel like now, if you're an away fighter, there's literally no point of you turning up, because the chances you're going to get the decision, no matter how good you perform, it's like 15%. If you win 9 rounds, it's like 15% you're going to get the decision. And that's just a disgrace. Like, what is the point? And if you are, and as you said, if you're a young guy that's looking to get into it and you're seeing this kind of stuff happen on a regular basis, what's the point? And I'm sure every single fighter, whether it be amateur or pro, has lost a fight that they had thought they won, or have lost a fight that they had clearly won. I know, like, to be fair, as a pro, I thought I won my debut, but it was close. So I could say, it was close. Like, some people could have given it to him, some people couldn't. But, I lost a Ricky Little fight fair and square. But, as an amateur, there was like still, again, a handful. I've been quite lucky, but still 1 or 2, maybe 3 fights when I was like, I won that fight, but I didn't get it. But at the end of the day, it was my amateur career, so it doesn't really matter. But, as a pro career, like, for instance, I'm fighting in 2 weeks next week for the Southern Area title. Yeah, for the Southern Area title. And, like, just imagine I go and put on like a career best performance and I win 8 rounds or 9 rounds or even 10 rounds of the fight, and they just give it to Roberts. Like, it just shatters my whole career. It shatters my whole life. It shatters everything I could do, like my dreams, my ambitions, my goals, everything. Like, and it's just heartbreaking to see and hear, whether you like someone or not. It's just, I just don't think anyone should be robbed of their dreams. And again, as I said, I didn't see the fight, so I can't really say anything. I'm just speaking on general basis of like things that happen in boxing. It's just a disgrace, and it like something needs to be done, and I don't think anything ever will get done unless people start getting punished. And I don't think anyone's going to get punished anytime soon.
I think if that happens with you next week, mate, me, Ryan, and Rod will turn your court upside down and find that belt. But yeah, you know, it's like you said about the money. Like Jack Catterall come out on IFL TV and said, "Look, Coot, it's not just about the win. Like this wasn't for just me. Like I would have had them belts and had life, because it weren't just the money he had from that fight. It was the money that he had moving forward from that fight. Like, he's going to be the home fighter defending the undisputed belts. Like, and he's never." Well, not never, but he's highly unlikely to ever get a chance to fight in an undisputed fight again.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? Like he might get made. Like I know that the WC are decent, WBC are decent people. They might say like, look, Josh has relinquished his belt. We're going to put you in the fight. Even he said, every one of them, the WBA, the WBO, the IBF, and the WBC could all say you're mandatory, but he ain't going to have all them fights on one day.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
What good is it? Do you know what I mean? It's no good. And we've seen how hard it is to make undisputed fights. Look at the heavyweights. Like they've all been chasing each other, and something always comes in the way. Like Joshua Wilder, the fight could never be made, and then Joshua Fury, the fight got paused because Wilder come in. It's not an easy fight to make. Do you know, so I just feel so sorry for him. It's going to have snapped him in half. I honestly, I lost a lot of faith in boxing that night. Like I'm quite happy to just stick to the small hall shows. But then, even when we talk about small hall shows, like I hate to talk, but look at the ref in your last fight. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't want you to say nothing on it, but we've spoke about it. I think it was on here or on Tom's podcast. Mate, that commie was holding and holding and holding, stopping you doing all your work. I said to you in the 5th round, he didn't want to. Did you do it? You did a 6th rounder, didn't you?
Yeah, 6. Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't want to come out in that 6th. I could see him sat in that corner looking up, and the ref walked over. But like, even there, like, do you know what I mean? That's just a standard level fight, or what turned out to be not an eliminator for him, but for you. And he could have potentially done like there, like the standard of referee, and like you said, Howard Foster, mate. He's a joke of boxing. Like, surely the Boxing Board of Control look on Twitter or Instagram and see the jokes. Like, you know, you see like these one-punch knockout street fights in America that happen, and someone will comment Howard Foster scores it 46-40. Do you know what I mean? It's like he got knocked out but won by 6 rounds. Like not all of them are bad. Do you know what I mean? There are some very good judges, some very good referees, and Ian John Lewis in the ring seems to do all right most of the time. But people like Howard Foster, I don't want to badmouth them because obviously they bring something that we love, which is there to enable a boxing match. But he needs serious questioning. But my main concern is, like I said, Ian John Lewis's scorecard, because that was an absolute. And like we say, nothing's going to happen. You know, you look at Hamza Shiraz versus Bradley Skeet. Shout out to Jez Smith, by the way. I don't know if you've seen that. He's got the Shiraz, and I hope he turns him over. But growing another fan for myself. What's been done about that? Absolutely nothing. Like we spoke to I can't remember Stuart Gray, is it, or Steve Gray? We spoke to him. Everything was above board in what he did. So telling the fighter that he can take his time, and then 30 seconds later saying, mate, if you don't get up, I've got to count you out. Well, hang on a minute. You've just told that. Like, they must listen to that and say, well, and this is the one thing that someone said the other day, referees should have the microphone like rugby. So you can hear the break, get out. Little things like that. So then they can hear that instant. So if the board of control, not even so we can hear it, but the director, Robert Smith at ringside, can listen into what the ref's saying. So if he hears Gray say to Skeet, you've got 30 seconds, then hold up, no, get up or you're out. They can say, well, hang on a minute, why did you give him the option of take your time? And then say, no, fuck off, mate, get up. It's mind-boggling, mate, and it's happening more and more and more. And it's sad to see because it's ruining a very good sport. And this is why I think Eddie Hearn is trying to take a lot of Brits over to America.
Yeah.
Because it's not the promoter's fault. Like people say, it's on a Hearn show. That's why AJ won the fight. No, it's nothing to do with Eddie Hearn or Frank Warren or whoever it might be, or Goodwin. Do you know what I mean? It's nothing to do with any of them. It's the referee or it's the judges. They haven't been. I can imagine at some points there are. If it's close, mate, I'll sling you a grand. Do it. That might happen. I don't know. You might know more than me. But it's on them. this is, and it's sad to see what you said about Fury. And Robert Smith's got to look at it and go, well, hang on, we've got the world heavyweight champion defending against a Brit at our national stadium, and himself and the promoter. And I'm sure Dillian White would say the same, because we're sitting there. I'm a Dillian White fan. Dillian White has got absolutely no chance of beating Fury unless he knocks him out. What do you do? Like, Jack, you got a world title shot next week, mate. You're fighting some Italian in Milan. Go for it. But they're all Italians, and you've got to knock him out. But good luck, mate. All right, leave that. Yeah, cheers. Unless you're in for the money, it's absolutely wrong, and they need sorting out, mate. I agree with you. It needs, but nothing will get done. It's the same judges every week: Bob Williams, Ian John Lewis, Victor Lachlan. He's a Scot, and he give it the closest, but still give it to Josh Taylor. It's just an absolute disgrace. But anything else to say on that?
No, mate, I think that's covered. I think it. I think we made our point clear.
Well, yeah, I can't say much more. I've got enough enemies going to York Hall next week by the sound of it.
Yeah.
So talking of York Hall next week, how are we?
I'm very well, mate. Things are going very well. I'm very happy. Couldn't be in a happier place at the moment. So yeah, I'm just really looking forward to getting in there now.
I mean, I spoke to Kieran a couple of times. Obviously, I see him. What was it, last Thursday when you were at Edge? No, the week before, wasn't it? And he said to me then, he said he's ready. I'm not going to try the accent because I'm scared of him, but he said he's ready. And to be 3 weeks out from a fight there and then, I wouldn't like to be Paul Roberts right now. That way. But before we talk about your week ahead, is there anyone you want to give a shout out to that's fighting on, for people that have bought tickets for you to get in there early and see any of the boys fight?
Yeah, I think there's a couple good fights on the cards. I've got it here now, up on here. Obviously, one of my friends and one of my workmates, Jack Newham's fighting. Jack Newham's a good lad. I really like him. He's really funny. I got a lot of time for him. Known him pretty much my whole career. And now obviously we work together on the bins. And yeah, man. So keep an eye out for him because apparently he's moving up a weight or two. And I spoke to his trainer. I've just heard good things throughout the whole time. That he's looking very, very strong at his new weight, and it's been hard to find people to do rounds with him. So shout out to him. A woman called Julia Horwood on the card. She's making her second fight. Apparently, she's a really entertaining fighter. Her first fight apparently was really entertaining. So shout out to her, and it's good for women's boxing as well. I love seeing the sport grow at the moment, and could be a new addition to the women's lightweight division. And then another guy I know, well, I don't know him personally. I've seen him fight big cruiserweight called Jamie Smith. He's had 3 fights, I think. He stopped 2 of them. He's a big puncher from Slough. He knows my mum, actually, or one of his friends know my mum, one of the 2. They go to a store in Slough. And then another guy who I met for the first time on Friday or Thursday is ID Idris Hill. He hasn't fought for 2 years, but he just seems like a really nice guy. I've never met him before, and he recognized me and just come up to me and was very friendly. And after this fight, when he wins, he's hoping to get a Southern Area title fight. So they're the fighters that I know or know of on the card, and they're the ones to look out for, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the card. Obviously, a nice, not a nice lad, a good lad in Jack Newham. Obviously, I've been speaking to him regularly. I've done his shirts for him. He's had 3 years out the ring, mate. So he's hungry to come back. Yeah. He's obviously, like you said, I think he stepped up to bantam. No, not bantamweight. What am I talking? I don't know. Welterweight is it? He's gone up to.
Welterweight, yeah.
And from what I've seen, he looks like an animal. And I don't know if people see on his live last night, but he was riding a bike back from the gym, no-handed, screaming, "The 2 Jacks are going to rip up York Hall next Saturday." So yeah, I'm looking forward to watching the night. I can't say I'm looking forward to watching you fight. I've seen you in the gym and I've looked forward to watching that. If someone could say to me, you watch the ring walk, which we'll talk about in a minute, and then you skip through 40 minutes, whatever it is, 30 minutes, and you hear the decision, I'd take that. 100% I'd take that. I just need it over with. And the same with Mark's fight, mate. I was speaking to his wife earlier. She said, I'm a nervous wreck, but I need to, we'll meet up at the fight. I was like, yeah, we will meet you up at the fight, but I don't know who's more nervous, mate. Yeah. I'd have to wear a nappy, I reckon, because I want it done. I want it done and out there. But we talk about obviously the Southern area, which you're obviously fighting for. Your plan isn't to stay at Southern area, is it? You want to win that belt and then go straight on, relinquish the belt and move.
Yeah, I just don't really see the point of defending it. It's like I just don't really think there's any need to defend the Southern area in the English because one, really, I know the English is looked at as a higher title, but really who you can fight for it, it's the same level. Like the English title and the Southern area, they are the same level. You can fight whoever you want for the Southern area and you can fight whoever you want for the English, really. There's no like real step up in class. You know, anyone can kind of fight anyone around that level for both them belts. So even though the English is more prestigious, it is basically still the same level of fight. So yeah, when I win, I don't have no plans of defending it. You know, I've been a pro for 6 years now, and I've probably been around Southern area level for at least like 3 years of that. You know, I had my Ricky Little fight in 2019. I feel like there were people I could have even fought beforehand, before that fight, maybe even like 2018 towards the back end of it. I was kind of getting towards Southern area level then. And sorry, 2018 was when I had the fight with Ricky Little, I think. And then towards the back end of like 2017, I felt I was ready, especially at kind of like my weight class, because opportunities come around a lot sooner. And that's another reason, because once I get the Southern area title, you know, it puts me in a real good place. So I don't need to sit around and try and defend it. I can move on to bigger and better things and hopefully start earning some money from boxing and, you know, and start making a bit of a name for myself once I have that belt. I mean, once I have that belt, I will have made a name for myself, but it's time to make a bigger name for myself and start winning more prestigious titles, you know? So that's my plan after that. But anyway, my focus isn't on the future, is on Saturday, because that is the fight that I need to win to elevate my career, and that is the fight I'm taking serious. I'm not looking to well, I mean, I am looking to the future, but I'm not looking to the future, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course, you know what you want to get to, but you know what you've got to do first to get there. You know, you can't overlook people like Paul Roberts. He seems like he's got his head screwed on. It's a great opportunity for him. Do you know what I mean? What's he, 3-3-1?
Yeah.
So to get this opportunity, you know, he's going to be up for it. But having seen you in the gym, and I know his people could say the same. I've seen Paul in the gym. He looks an animal. He's going to wipe him out. I don't see it. I mean, I've watched a few of his fights, and I just think, you know, with the time you've had, you know, obviously the second Ricky Little fight falling through and then stepping up. But we've said this all before, you know, stepping up and taking this fight against Comey. There's not many people that don't deserve it much more. Do you know what I mean? And I think you're right. You know, the English and Southern area level is no different. So let's not talk about where you want to move to. But like I've been saying to people, you know, like when I'm saying, oh, you know, look, next Saturday, Jack Hughes fighting at York will come down. It's 45 quid a ticket. Oh, well, you know, what level is the Southern? Oh, you know, people, unless you know boxing, you don't understand the levels of what you need to go through. You know what I mean? So, yeah, God willing, you do what you need to do. And hopefully we're back at York Hall in July time. What sort of 3 months after the fight you go back out? Because I think it's literally 13 weeks on Saturday since your last fight at York Hall. Yeah, which is just over. So that's good, because obviously, you know, some boxers only fight twice a year. So to get straight out, and obviously COVID had a big impact, because that was 2 years without being able to fight. So God knows where you would be now, up somewhere. Do you know what I mean? But it's definitely a night, like we say, we're looking forward to. And yeah, just I can't talk about that no more either. But talking about your camp, so you've been doing some work with a couple of lads. Do you want to give them a little mention?
Yeah, so obviously my main two sparring partners throughout this camp have been Jordan Porkish and Harry Mullins. Harry Mullins actually had a fight. Was it Friday yesterday?
Last night.
Yeah,
last night, yeah.
And he a good opponent actually. He, like, you know, better than his record suggests, and he won. He moves to 4-0. So like, shout out to him. And Jordan's fighting the day before me, I think, against the same guy that Harry Mullins just fought. So yeah, shout out to both of them, because they were a big help throughout this career. I mean, throughout my career, throughout this camp for me. You know, they gave me important rounds when I needed them. And obviously, I've done a couple rounds with Razor Ali, but you know, they were more technical, because Ali's a big big guy, you know, like especially like, I mean, he fights at 55 kilo, but he walks around probably around 70 kilo. Like he's massive compared to me, you know. He's massive, like, and even when he walks around at 70, he's still built. Like he is the biggest super bantamweight I've ever seen, and that's not exaggerating. Ali is a fucking unit. I don't know how he makes super bantamweight. He looks like a welterweight. So yeah, so they're always tech spars. He's just, at the end of the day, he's just too big, too strong for me. You know, I give it a go like I always do. I'm a game lad, but at the end of the day, he's just too big, too strong.
Impossible task, yeah.
Yeah. So
sorry, I didn't even know that Harry. Like, obviously, I see you spar Harry. I've seen you spar Jordan. I thought Harry was still an amateur. So no offense to Harry, but he looks good, mate. He can move in the ring.
He can.
Yeah, and one quick shout out to Nathan Mizzen. He headlined that card last night at I can't remember where it was, but it was on Fight Zone. He went 4-0, and also Dee Allen. She Will Jones fighter. She knocked her opponent out in 50 seconds in her debut.
Nice.
Yeah, and you watch it, the girl literally falls on her second and she'll whack straight down. So a couple of shout outs to them, and also Jordan, who interestingly is obviously the same weight as you. He fingers crossed, you win your belt, move on. He'll get that shot, and then one day down the line, you and him can get it on, and we'll see where that goes. I've watched both spars. Obviously, Harry was. How long ago was the one I come down for Harry? That must have been a month ago now.
Yeah, it must have been about a month.
Or maybe even longer, about 6 weeks ago, and you looked all right then. And then obviously I see you last week, and you sparred this week. So I want to talk about the next week, mate. So obviously I'm coming down to be Nate Diaz on Friday in Luton. If anyone tries it, I'll be launching water bottles across the ring, shouting "Let's go, punk kid!" Not afraid. I've got enough enemies. But what's Monday to Friday look like for you? So obviously we're now going into Sunday. Is there any more horrible death runs on the track, or is it just stay safe, out of arm's way, bubble wrap?
It's really chilled, to be honest. I had my last run today. I just did like 4 miles, but at a real just steady pace. You know, there's no need to push my body anymore. My body's been pushed. It's ready. So I just, you know, it's just more to keep active. I just did a steady run. Normally, like on fight weeks, I just normally have it's really easy, but Kieran wants me to do one more hard-ish session. It's just like 10 rounds worth of punching, which will be done on the Monday. And then after that, mate, things just really start to chill out. You know, like you'll just come in and you'll probably do a couple rounds of shadow, maybe hit the pads for 1 or 2 rounds, and then go on the bag for 1 or 2 rounds. And it just kind of remains like that. Then on a Wednesday, I have a check weigh-in where you have to be 3% within your fight weight, and I'm not really too sure how much it is. Like people always tell me different weights. They're like 1 minute it's like 53 kilo, then it's 53.5, then 53.7. But it doesn't really matter because I'm already nearly there anyway. So you know it's easy for me. I'm waking up in the morning at 53 kilo, 53.3. So I've already made the check weight for Wednesday. And then Thursday, Friday, mate, it's literally just a couple rounds of shadow boxing. Well, maybe even on Friday, I don't even do anything because that's when my weigh-in is. So, you know, Thursday will just be around like a couple rounds of shadow. And then Friday's just getting up, getting weighed in, and then coming home and like refueling on food. And then Saturday is fight night.
It's mad, isn't it? Like you think all this time you've had an 8-week to 10-week training camp, you've slaved your guts out. I've seen, you know, you did that 8 rounds with Jordan, and then you was on the bag, and all of a sudden Kieran went 2 burpees, and I was like, hang on a second, like he's just done 8 rounds. Like, hang on, like I'd hit that floor and drop. Do you know what I mean? So you slaved away, and now you're in that kind of week where, like you say, you've got one more hard session, but you'll wake up Tuesday and know my body ain't gonna feel fucked until Sunday morning now. But then you could have that, or you should, or will, whatever you want to say, had that feeling when you wake up Sunday of, I've done it. Since that first fight with Ricky Little, this has played over my head. You know, he's fucked me over in a second fight. I then had to take an interim fight against a guy 4 weights above me. Thank God. Thank you, British Boxing Board of Control. Here's your Southern Area title. I'm moving up. Do you know what I mean? It's. I've seen how hard you've worked, mate. I've seen you 3 times in camp. I'll be there with you Friday. And just from me, I really hope you do it. You know what I mean? I've every faith that you will. And I'm sure, you know, Rod, everyone that's bought tickets, Ryan, Terry, we're all going to be there. We'll have no fingernails left. But you're going to do it. There's one question I quickly got. Is it bad motherfucker for the walk on?
Yeah, it is, mate. Yeah.
Hang on. Let's just hope he's got the stage, because York Hall's going to be bouncing. You say you've done a few tickets, which is good.
Yeah.
Still time to get your tickets, is there?
Yeah. There will be till Thursday, because Friday's the day it's the weigh-in, and that's the day I meet Steve. That's the day I hand over all the tickets and the money and so on and so forth. So you've got until Thursday, which is the 10th, if I'm correct. Yeah. So that's the cut-off, is the 10th for Thursday.
Lovely. So the weigh-in, is that just literally you go to Steve's, walk in, step up? Do they do any media sort of stuff there? Do they have anyone like sort of ask any questions, or is it literally pull up you go, jack up you go, you're done, off?
No, well, I'm guessing that they do like the higher up of the fights are, but yeah, every time I've had my weigh-ins, it's literally you just go there, you just strip off, get on the scales, you do your little kind of head-to-head, and then you go, and then the rest of the day is yours. You know, you go home, you eat, you refuel, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that will literally be it. And because I'm the only title fight, it should only just be me and Paul there. So we should just get there, get in, get out. So that's quite nice, to be honest. You don't have to wait around for everyone else to weigh in and so on and so forth.
Yeah, when I spoke to Steve, he did say that everyone was weighing on the Saturday, and that only the title fight, which is yourself, like you say.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for Mark, mate. There's like 4 title fights on his card. He's going to be there till bloody Christmas.
Hey, it was worse before that, because do you know the fight that I had in November? Everyone on the card had to weigh in on the Friday, so everyone was waiting outside. Like, everyone was hungry, everyone was starving. The doctor was running late, so it ran like well over it should have, because we was waiting for the doctor. And then, you know, not only did we have to weigh in, we had to go in and do COVID tests before. And until our COVID test come back positive, then we went and weighed in. And then, yeah, so that was even way worse. This one's going to be the nicest one I've done, because it's literally just me and Paul Roberts. I think before there was like, when I had my fight with Ricky Little, there was like 3 or 4 title fights on the card. So I was in the same boat as Mark. It was, you know, like 3 or 4 years ago now. So I know how Mark feels.
Oh, well, let's just get the weighing out of the way. What's the first thing you're going to eat after you weigh in? Are you one that goes straight to? Because I imagine you can't go and get a McDonald's. It's still got to be to a certain level of. What's your first? Because I know, obviously, I see you before you have fish with barbecue sauce, which is wrong in every way possible in my eyes. But is there a certain thing, like, what can you eat after you weigh in? Like, what is good to eat?
Do you know what? Funny enough, yeah, I was watching videos about this the other day. To be fair, it's a different method of making weight than what I've done right now. But there's like, you know, there's a thing called like water loading, where you drink loads of water, and then you drink literally like a ridiculous amount of water on a Sunday, and then like on the until the Monday, and then on the Tuesday you gradually start dropping it, and then obviously it makes you go to the toilet, and then, like, you know, you piss out loads of water and so on and so forth, and then you basically kind of like get to a point where you're dehydrated and you make weight and then you refuel. And I was watching loads of videos on this, because it was something that we was going to do, but then because of like the check weigh in, you can't really do that, because you're going to be filled up with water on a Wednesday, and you know you haven't got enough time to get it all out of your system. But yeah, so I was watching and I was listening to people, and like how much weight they lose and so on and so forth. And one of the guys, he was a bodybuilder, so I don't know if he was speaking from a bodybuilding perspective, but he was just using the term athlete. So I'm guessing he means just in a general athlete perspective. But he actually said, and I did speak to Kieran about this, Kieran disagrees with it, but it is one of them things where I think it's one of them, it's a 50-50 kind of thing. I think you're going to get some people that will say, you know, the people that disagree are old fashioned, and then you're going to get some people that say this is kind of like how it's done, how some people do it. But I've seen loads of people do different things anyway. But he actually said that when you do this method of losing weight, you lose like a lot of salt and stuff. And he was actually talking about losing like 30 pounds within a week. And he said that when you refuel, you're meant to refuel on the stuff that you've been told to stay away from. So like shit foods like McDonald's, shit foods that have salt in it. And he said the reason is because where you've you've lost so much salt, and there was something else he said, it was salt and something else, that from eating things like chicken and veg, there's no way you can rehydrate 30 pounds from just eating fish and veg and drinking water in one day. He said you need to eat the shit foods to replace the salts, to replace whatever else it was, and to also put on the weight. And he said it's actually good for your body to do that. Don't know if that's true or not. I've never personally done it, but then again, I've never done water loading, so I don't know, but there are loads of fighters that I have seen that when they get the chance, they weigh in on the Friday, they do go eat like pizzas and they do eat shit foods. But I would have always thought, in my opinion, that that's kind of like heavy stuff. So it's going to make you feel heavier on fight night. But I don't know. Like for me, like I do eat relatively well, but then I do also eat like other stuff. Like I'll treat myself like I have a Monster, or I have like some chocolate and like so on and so forth. But then again, saying that, I drink Monster throughout camp, and sometimes I will eat like chocolate and stuff because, funny enough, again, another one of my coaches, Adam, but then again, funny enough, who was also actually a bodybuilder, said to me, "You can eat what you like during camp as long as you burn off the calories." And funny enough, again, who actually is a boxer this time, Chris Algieri, said the same thing. He said, "I don't believe in cheat days. If I want something, I'll have it, but I'm just willing to burn it off." Because from what I've heard from most top nutritionists, is food is energy. So when you eat food, you're fueling yourself and you're giving yourself energy. But yes, obviously, there's a point where if I ate McDonald's every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, of course, it's a shit fuel. So yeah, I probably wouldn't get the best performance out of myself. But if I had McDonald's twice a week, but still trained at a high level, I'm still gonna be getting the same performance because it's 2 shit meals out of however many fucking
14 or whatever,
yeah. Like there's only 2 shit meals in a week, so it's not gonna have a massive, thing on my performance. And like, I do eat cheat meals in camp, and as I said, I do drink Monsters and stuff, and I'm probably one of the fittest boxers you'll ever see, so it's not affecting me when I do that kind of stuff. So yeah, I do kind of believe it to an extent, what that guy said, what I was talking about, the water loading before. But yeah, but I still eat relatively healthy. I'll probably still have like chicken breast, maybe with a couple chips and like things like that. So yeah, I'll still be relatively putting good food into me until after fight night.
You're quite lucky, obviously, where you say you don't struggle with weight as well. Do you know what I mean? So you can afford to have them luxuries more often than most can. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've met fighters that have said, like, literally my snack in the afternoon is a handful of nuts. Whereas some fighters, I say, I can have a Kit Kat, like a 2-finger Kit Kat, and that'll do me. Do you know what I mean? But so let's talk about the fight day. So obviously, you go to bed on the Friday, you wake up. Do you go to sleep on the Friday thinking, shit, this is it? Like, tomorrow is everything I've worked for. Like, especially this fight. Like, this is everything in your career so far. This is what you've worked for. Do you know? Not to put pressure on, but it's the truth. You know, like every fight, every time you step between them ropes, is to get to this level right now. Yeah. After that, that must be like win this belt. That must be a big like. Right, I've done that. I've made it to a level which every fighter aspires to get to. So now I'm going to move forward. So when you go to bed the night before a fight, not just this fight, any fight, does it play on? Do you think about it, or is it look, let's just get my head down and then we'll concentrate on the day ahead?
No, I just get really excited, to be honest. Like just get really excited before the fight, and then even on the day, like I don't really get that nervous. I mean, everyone suffers from a little bit of nerves, and if you say you don't, I just think you're a compulsive liar. Like,
Shit, yeah.
yeah, everyone suffers with a little bit. Some people suffer more than others. Like I used to get really bad nerves before a fight when I was younger, but where I've matured and I've grown and I kind of believe in myself a lot more than I did, I don't really get that nervous anymore. It's like the nerves are very, very minor, like how I am now speaking to you and the way I act is pretty much exactly the same on fight night. there's no difference to me. As I said to you before, I can be laughing right up until the bell goes, and then the second the bell goes, I know it's time to shine, basically. So I'm very chilled, I'm very relaxed, I'm very calm. As I said, just a little bit of nerves, but then once the bell goes, you kind of just forget all about it.
When obviously we spoke before, I think it was me, you, and Ryan when we did it before on like episode 3, whatever. And there's so much contrast and things like David Hay was always known to make his opponent wait. And like when I used to go on stage for darts, like I would watch my opponent walk on, because obviously they'd walk on to nothing as the away. Like when you play county darts, the first person called to the stage would be like the away county. So like I remember when we played, I think I told the story, Berkshire, and the guy said in the smoking area, whoever's on last, I'm going to fuck him up, this, that, and the other. And it was me, but he didn't know that. So see, I've seen him walk up and he's giving it the old Barry McGuigan, as boxers would say, the big one. Well, yeah, come on, I'm the man, this, that, and the other. And I thought, you know what, you prick, you're going to wait. And I just stood at the bar and let my walk on play for about 40 seconds. And we had this guy called Lewis, and he always walked on to DJ Fresh Gold Dust. You know, so it starts with the spinning of the disc. And he would literally stand up at the bar, drinking his drink while the music was playing. And we'd all like be looking around, because like we'd all like gather like a corridor type thing and shake his hand as he walked up. So like, is that something like, do anything like that ever come into your mind, like mind games like before the fight, or are you strike near someone just like, look, you're gonna get it, you know you're gonna get it, let's just get in the ring and get it done?
Yeah, no, I don't really believe in mind games, mate. Like, I think so shit. Like, I'm kind of, I don't know if you've ever seen the Arturo Gatti interview, but I'm just well and truly with everything he said in it. And he was talking about a potential fight with Nazim Hamid at the time. And they kind of asked him the same question, and he was like, "Oh, he makes people wait. He does like the 10-minute ring walks and so on and so forth." And he just said, "It's a load of fucking bullshit. Like, they should just grab him, throw him in the ring, and just say fight. Like, because I just don't understand this thing where people just wait for ages and just fucking like, because to be honest, once you get like a true professional, yeah, it's just not going to work. Like, mind games just won't work. Look at, Nazim when he stepped up with Barrera, it just didn't work. And he got beat quite convincingly when he fought, an elite fighter. And I'm not saying I'm an elite fighter, but I've got a very strong mind. So you can make me wait as long as you want. It's just not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit there calm and probably just enjoy the music, So it's not going to do anything. If anything, it's just going to make me want to beat the shit out of you more. So yeah, it's not going to work, and it's not something I'm going to do. I'm just going to get straight in and just fight.
Fucked you up. Yeah. Is there like, in terms of mind games of boxing, obviously I know about boxing, but like in the profession I ever played, like there was a lot of mind games that were known when you were playing darts. Obviously the biggest one was obviously you got your 3 darts in your hand, the guy's throwing behind, and you just spin them about in your hand. It makes that a little ticking noise type thing. And then there's the bending of the flights, and Eric Bristow was known to do arguably one of the biggest ever, and he walked up to his opponent as he was throwing and said, "Do you breathe whilst you throw?" And then like you're throwing and you think like, am I breathing? Do you hold your breath? Is there anything in a boxing, because that would put you off? Do you know what I mean? Anything like that in a dart match, like, oh mate, you're standing too far, and every time you go up to the hockey, you'd be like, oh no, I'm fine. Like, what's he talking about? And it'd be playing on your mind. But like in a boxing ring, is there any mind games that can be played or that have been played on yourself that have like made you think, like even in sparring, or that you've been told by a trainer to look out for? Is there anything ever that you are told about that you should be wary of?
Yeah, there's loads of stuff, like, like the kind of, when you first start and you fight journeyman. I mean, but this is one thing that Barry always told me. Like, he knew all like the journeyman tricks, and like he would tell me like they do something so it makes you look like you're holding. So basically, it's kind of hard for me to show, especially because I've got no one to demonstrate with. But they get your hands in between there, and they like hold them, and they move back. And they'd be like, look, he's holding, but they're trapping your arms, kind of thing. And like, that's one thing they do. And then, there's loads of little journeyman tricks and like dirty inside fighting, which is kind of in itself, it is kind of like a mind game, because you're being dirty, and it's off-putting. But it's kind of something I actually really like, is like dirty inside fighting, or just dirty fighting in general. Actually, I actually really like it. But yeah, but and obviously you can talk to your opponent, which obviously some refs will tell you off for, some refs will let you get on with it, which again is like mind games. But again, these are just things that just won't work with me. Like, one, because I know all about the dirty inside fighting, and two, it's probably something I'd do from time to time myself. And like, yeah, like just words just don't really affect me, you know, like if they did, I wouldn't do anything that I'd do. I wouldn't paint my nails, I wouldn't dress funky, I wouldn't have funky hair, and so on and so forth. I've people have said shit to me my whole life. It's just like water off a duck's back, you know. If people weren't saying shit, I'd think there was something wrong. Maybe that would affect me more if people stopped talking shit to me. I'd be like, what's going on? What the fuck? But yeah, like, and plus I've had people do all this kind of stuff to me before, you know, like not necessarily in the ring, but in sparring. I've kind of been through it, and it doesn't frustrate me. To be honest, I have a real calm nature about me. If that, and that may sound quite weird because I fight so aggressive and I say I'm really calm, but it just works. Like, you know, people do this stuff to me in sparring, and it doesn't frustrate me at all. In fact, I never ever get frustrated in the ring, even if I can't hit someone, because I've just got a very calm nature about myself, you know. I just feel like if you let yourself get frustrated, that's when you're going to lose a fight. And even if you can't hit your opponent, even though that is frustrating, you've just got to stay calm in them situations. And that's what makes like great fighters, really. So yeah,
if you can't hit someone, you're getting frustrated. It's like anything you do. If you're trying to screw a hole in the wall and you can't do it and you're getting frustrated, you get more angry. Do you know what I mean? If you're playing football and you're not going to perform to your best, so you always need to stay calm. And one thing I will say about you, obviously having been with you outside the ring, is seeing that switch from you being outside to inside is like completely two different people. And it is, because you've got to be that person. You couldn't be the guy you are in the ring outside the ring, because you'd be in prison. Do you know what I mean? The anger you show in the ring, and then you couldn't be that guy you are outside the ring, because you'd get sparked out by every single person you went in with. That switch, is it just like the first bell rings, like you get called to the middle, you're stood next to Kieran, the ref's giving his word to you? Is it just right, now's go time, let's have it?
Yeah, pretty much. That's just like I said. Like, I can be laughing right up until the bell goes, and then I know it's time to fight. And I just have a real like fighting nature about me. It's so weird because I feel like it's the stuff that I watched as a kid, like, you know, like the cartoons I watched and stuff. Like Dragon Ball Z is like one of my all-time favorite cartoons, and it was just all about pride and fighting and stuff like that. And it's kind of like people that I don't want to say look up to because they're fucking cartoon characters, but you know, like you'll see like someone like Vegeta, and you know, there's just the stuff he says, it's like inspirational, and like the pride he shows is like inspirational. And you know, when you're a kid, you just think like, wow, just like Vegeta is just so cool. I want to be like Vegeta, and like he was obviously always my favorite, and like and I feel like it's because of like I watched stuff like that, and they would always talk about pride and like fighting and things, and it kind of just stuck with me as like a kid. And you know, like everything I ever did, whether it would be like football or whether it be volleyball or something, I always like wanted to do myself proud and be good and be aggressive and do that. And obviously, when I found boxing, funny enough, my aggressive style only come later on in my career, when people said to me like, I don't understand why you're fighting the way you're fighting, because the way you fight doesn't match your kind of like style, because you're so strong, and you're so strong for like your size and weight, and you hit relatively decent and so on. It just doesn't match your style. And then so my aggressive nature actually came later on in my boxing career. In fact, it was probably since like lockdown when my aggressive approach come. And that was probably for many reasons, like being trained the wrong way and so on and so forth. But it took a while for that to come out, and now it's here. It's pretty much here to stay, and it's become a part of who I am.
Now it's here, somebody going to get their ass kicked.
Exactly.
And that man, no, can't say no more because I'm scared of turning up at York Hall. So, mate, that's fight week discussed. That's you discussed. That's your Saturday discussed. Is there anybody, anyone, anything you want to say? Thank yous. We spoke about where you can get tickets. You know, anything you want to get out in now, because this is the last time we're going to do this. Obviously, I see you on Friday, and I'll probably speak to you about a load of shit then as well. But for people that are going to watch this, is there anything you want to say to anybody before we close it off?
Yeah, it's pretty much just the same people I've been thanking throughout. You know, I just want to obviously thank Kieran and Tony, who are going to be in my corner on the night, and hopefully Barry O'Connell from State of Mind will also be in my corner. I asked him today, and he said he really wants to be there. We just need to run it by a couple people, but I'm sure that would be fine. And also Barry lets me use his gym whenever I can't get down to my gym. Is where I started my career, actually, State of Mind Fitness. So you know, shout out to them guys, and obviously for Kieran for all the work he puts in for me and everything, you know. And then obviously shout out to my girlfriend Terry, you know, like she does everything for me in the build up for the fight, you know, and obviously she's made my fight kits, you know, and all that. So, you know, shout out to her company, Tezabels, as well. Then you know, shout out to my sponsors, you know, Rod, Steve and Guy, who've sponsored me for a couple of fights now, and they're just, you know, I've known Steve pretty much my whole life. He used to work for my stepdad Mark, and he used to come over to our house. He basically like lived in our house for a while whilst he worked with my with my stepdad, and I was really young at the time, and I used to really look up to Steve, and like he's just a cool guy, and he's this is the third time he's sponsored me now, and for one fight actually, for the Ricky Little fight, when I was meant to fight him in Southampton, he sponsored me and it got called off. And I said, and he sponsored me a lot of money. And I said to it, and obviously I said, message him like, oh mate, my fight's been called off. I need to send you your money back. And he just said, no, mate, just keep it. You know, so like he's a real genuine guy. And I think he's got a lot of time for my family because my family helped him out at a time when he needed help. So that's why he's so willing to help me out, because you know, it's like what my family did for him. He remembers that, and you know, he's a real good guy for that. And obviously, Rod's a real good guy as well. Another guy who I've actually never met, but still like sponsors me and has so much time for me. And I just think, you know, for someone who's never met me to do that, it just shows what kind of guy he is. And you can say the same thing for Guy as well. I've actually only ever met Guy once, but he come to my fight because I used to train down at Club KO. And he's good friends with Noel, and Noel said, you know, this guy, young lad's fighting, go to his fight, and he come and again, yeah, he sponsored me the second time around and actually gave me 2 months worth of wages just so I could have a full-time training camp for this fight. So, you know, it speaks volumes for them three men and what kind of men they actually are to help someone out, apart from Steve, because I've known Steve my whole life, but you know, like Rod and Thing, to just help someone out that they barely know. Like, it speaks volumes for them, but it also speaks volume for Steve and shows you what kind of guy Steve is as well. So, you know, thanks for them. And of course, last but not least, obviously, thank you to you, mate, because, you know, you do a lot for me. You put a lot of time in with me. And we actually met because I was being an arsehole to you. So, you know, it speaks of the volumes out what you are as a man as well. So, yeah, like, and obviously, thank you to everyone that brought tickets, because without you buying tickets, this isn't possible. So, yeah, you know, and I think they're the most important people that I need to say. Well, I mean, everyone that I've just mentioned, plus the people that sold tickets, are the most important people that I need to thank. I don't think there's anyone else.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, if there is, sorry, but you know, and I'm sure I've said thank you somewhere down the line anyway. But yeah, I think that's everyone, mate.
I think Rod wants to meet up with you this week, doesn't he? I think he said to me earlier he's trying to arrange just to come and say hello, which is, you know, that's what he's like. You know, obviously I know Rod very well. Every day we speak, and he always mentions, you know, he's chasing tickets for you. And the same with the other sponsors. You know what you just said there about that guy Steve, you know, to sponsor you like he did in the fight to fall through, and then to still say, look, keep it, mate, is he's acknowledged there that you've taken your time out to work hard. Do you know what I mean? A lot of guys there, or women, people, shall we say, would have said, oh shit, well, you know, you're not promoting me, so give it back and I'll save it for the next fight. So that just shows what a genuine kind of person he is. And I just have a message from, obviously, me and myself and people who are going to watch this and people who support us for you. Just smash it, mate. You know, you're going to do it. Nobody apart from any of us people here myself, your sponsors, Terry, all the people who bought tickets, all the people who follow on social media, we all want you to fucking do it. There's nothing more we want to see than a picture of you with that belt. I want a picture with the belt after the fight as well, which I'm sure, because Rod said he's going to be on his best behaviour and we're going to see you after the fight this time. So stay good, Rod. And yeah, mate, just stay safe this week. I'll see you at the weigh-in Friday. I'll bring a 24-pack of Costco water with me in case anyone gets lippy. And we move forward, mate. We move on. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait for it to be over. Or just fucking finish it early, Jack. Just finish it early, and then we can all have a nice early night. You don't take no hits, no cuts, nothing like that. I know you don't cut easily. But yeah, mate, in all seriousness, I wish you, honestly, all the best of luck. You're in safe hands, like we spoke about before. You and Kieran. Kieran's a brilliant trainer. He makes me laugh every time I see him. And let's just get it done. Let's do it. And let's be back at York Hall for what could be a Commonwealth title in the middle of the year. Who knows? Do you know what I mean? And you deserve it. Honestly, that's from me. And you'll be wearing one of these bad boys at your weigh-in.
Exactly.
Pink for
a couple of seconds, and I'll just take it off and get weighed in. Yeah.
I'll have to turn around while I can't be watching you get down to your pants, man. Like that ain't going to happen for me. I'm sorry. Paul Roberts, I'll go up behind and cack him as he gets his and I'll be banned from York on the Saturday. But anything else from you, mate? I think we've done all right there. That's a good one. The fans have learned a lot more about you. Obviously, I've always been interested to find out how fight week goes, you know, because I've heard it's boring, especially during COVID when they're in hotels. So if there's nothing else from you, mate, I am done.
Yeah, I think that's it from me, mate. There's literally nothing else I need to say. So, yeah, I guess for all the viewers, you can join us again next week. I guess actually there's not necessarily something I have to say is, but I guess we need to be a bit more, not consistent, but we need to find a general date where we need to make a video and start posting it on a weekly basis just to keep some like kind of consistency for the show and the viewers. So yeah, I think that's the only thing we need to improve on. But at the same time, when I'm in a camp like I am, sometimes it's kind of hard to commit. So, you know, but I'm sure after this we can start doing, you know, one a week on a certain day, or maybe two if there's an important topic like Jack Catterall, Josh Taylor decision that we need to report on. But yeah, apart from that, that's it. Peace, people. We'll see you probably next week where we're probably going to talk about
you being a champion.
Yeah, that Ebony Bridges, Josh Warrington, and Mark Little show. And I think that would be it. So yeah, peace, people.
Sweet.